Hi, it's Laurie at Sew Right, and today we're going to discuss what are mechanical versus computerized sewing machines. And rather than listing pros and cons, I'm just going to go through some of the features of each and let you decide what's suitable for you. What I'd like to do is to go through all of the mechanical machines and highlight some of the features there, and then we'll move on to computerized machines, and then you'll note the differences. So what you'll find in a mechanical machine is that you've got a lot of knobs. You don't have a computer interface, but you have dials to select things, such as your stitch tension, your reverse lever, and your stitch selector. You also have the ability to have the needle move up and down with your hand wheel right here. Right here you'll find that this machine, this Brother Pacesetter PS100, is the most simple one in the Brother line, which would be great for a beginner sewer or for someone that doesn't want to have a lot of knowledge prior to learning how to sew. You're simply turning the knob to select the stitch, not manipulating stitch lengths, stitch width, any of that. So we have this one right here. The next one over is the Brother PS200T. And what you'll find are there more stitch selection knobs. Again, you're going to see there are many more stitches to choose from. And you have more control in terms of your stitch bite and your stitch length. There are also built in gears and cams so that you can create these stitches with a little bit of effort of turning some knobs and dials. From then on, we're moving to another manufacturer, Husqvarna Viking, and they have a couple of selections in the Emerald line that are mechanical. Again, like I mentioned with the Brother, you have your knobs for stitch selection, for stitch length and width, and then you have some basic modifications that you can get to other types of decorative utility stitches by manipulating these knobs in certain ways. So there is some learning curve in learning how to adjust the knobs properly. Also, you will adjust your tensions as well by manipulating the dials. Moving from the Emerald 116, we move to the 118. You'll see similar dials and knobs, but they've added a few other elements that make it easier to sew with. You have a speed control lever, and you have a needle up-down lever, so that, again, a little more electronics are added to make a basic machine more modern and more easy to use. So you can have a mechanical machine that has ease of use built into it with a little bit more electronics added. So now we've moved on to another section of the store, and we are now looking at computerized models of sewing machines. Since we began our discussion with the Pacesetter, I've moved up the line, and now we're sitting in front of the Brother Pacesetter PS700. And if you're looking at that compared to the mechanical ones, you're going to see there really are no knobs anymore. You do have a little screen here that's computerized that shows you your stitch selection. So what's nice is you don't have to visualize what you're doing. You're actually seeing what you're doing by looking at the screen. So I am just touching a stitch. Let's do stitch number 5. And number 5 pops up. And it gives me a lot of advice. It tells me what type of foot to use. It tells me the default stitch width and stitch length the machine would recommend. And it also gives me other messages like this is for single needle use, not twin needle use, etc. So beyond the screen, you're going to see in front of the machine there are no more knobs. We've got a start-stop button, so I don't have to sew with my foot pedal. I have speed control. I have a needle down, needle up button to lower my needle, so I could use the hand wheel or I could use this button. And I also have a thread cutting function. The needle threader also gets much more sophisticated in that if I thread everything properly, I have a lever here that I can push down to have it aimed right there so that the thread will go through the eye of the needle. So it takes a lot of guesswork out of sewing because you're allowing some of the computerization to take over that guesswork. Since we went to the Husqvarna Viking Emeralds, I wanted to show you a computerized version of a Husqvarna Viking machine. And this is an awfully nice one. This is the Opel 690Q. What's really cool about this one is, let me just show you, rather than tell you. I just put my foot on the foot pedal and it just started to sew and it lowered the presser foot on its own. If I activate this needle up down button, look, I can even pivot my fabric without picking up the presser foot take-up lever. It ever so slightly just raises the pressure off the foot to allow me to maneuver it. Again, it has all those other no dials, cutting function. Speed control is on the panel located here. They have, like the brother, they have all your stitch selection choices up here. And then we have a small computerized screen here. This is where I would manipulate my thread tension, my thread stitch length, and then the bite up and down, and then also needle position. I have this handy dandy stylus to help me. So if I've got fat fingers or I don't point well, the stylus helps me aim exactly where I want to be on the screen. And a little holder for it as well. I have also, again, the hand wheel that I can use, but a lot of times, a lot of how the designs of the machines are on the front panel, you don't have to take your hands away from anywhere but the front and focus on your sewing. I hope this discussion helps clarify some of the advantages of both types of machines, electronic and computerized. And that way, when you go into a store and are looking for a machine, this might help you figure out what you might want in terms of the type of machine that fits your sewing needs. If you have any additional questions, any of the staff here would be glad to help direct you in the right direction in terms of a sewing machine or any other purchase you'd make here at Sew Right. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon.